those cultural thing or like stop me. So like I really put the work into getting out of my shell.
Cultural piece is always inside of us. So even when we move and we go to a new place, we still have that voice of our people in the back of our mind, like, don't do that. We don't do that. Don't say that. Don't wear that, right? Welcome to The Narrative, a podcast of untold stories, a place where silence is broken, secrets are unearthed, and stories find their voice. From intergenerational wisdom to identity, race, purpose, and power, this is a sacred space for the stories we were never taught to tell, but always needed to hear. Because healing begins when our stories are spoken. Hello and welcome. This is the Narrative of Untold Stories podcast. My name is Dr. Crystal Ann England, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Mami. And so I want to give you an opportunity actually to first go ahead and introduce yourself. What do you want the people to know about you?
My name is Mami Okamoto. I'm a Atlanta-based maternity and personal branding photographer. And then my style, I can say it's warm, very authentic. And for the maternity side, I love to capture the connections, the bond, the celebration of the life. And, you know, I love like the maternity ladies are always like glowing. It's something special about them. So I love to capture that. And then personal branding photography that I'm currently started is more, I love to support the woman. And I'm the woman mom itself, myself. And so there are so many, you know, women's entrepreneurs and business owners who needs help and wants to have like elevated branding photos. So that's what I come and do all these magic things for you.
And if you guys have seen any of my photos, including the photo that is used for this podcast, Mommy is the one who shot those branding photos. So
Yes, that's right.
yes, actually, that's how Mommy and I met. We met on Threads. I had put out a call for any local photographers in Atlanta who were willing to come by and do my branding photos. And Mommy was, I want to say, one of the only women who even, reached out to me. And I was like, yes, we are going to do this. And she came and we got some incredible shots. And it was exactly what Mommy said. It felt authentic. It felt natural. It felt so free and comfortable. And because, sometimes I'm sure any of you who have had photos before, sometimes you go and you're like, this is uncomfortable. Let me hurry up so like this person can leave, right? It didn't feel like that. And I think that's how you know sometimes like, this is also in alignment, right?
Yeah. I think we straight away feel connected. And it was such a fun session with you. Yeah.
And it shows in the photos. So if you guys get a chance, please make sure. And I will put all of Mommy's information for you guys down below so that you can reach out to her, so you can look at her portfolio, check out what she has going on, because she always has these like mini photo shoots at random times of the year. Like I'm sure Easter, I think you have one coming up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Easter, spring, and then summer too. I'm planning summer and yeah, fall and Christmas. Yeah, Christmas is a big thing.
Yes, Christmas.
Yeah.
And also, guys, I know I'm bragging on you hard, Mommy, because you are an incredible photographer, but also you offer so many affordable, and I think a lot of times that's like not the case when it comes to photography, is that your prices are affordable for like the working mom like me. Like I can't afford $500 branding photos. Right? Maybe some people can do that, and that's wonderful. But, I think that's important to note too, is that you take incredible photos and they're affordable for the working mom, for people who maybe don't have $1,000 to spend, right? Like the average person, especially in this economy, like how, right? And during Christmas, you have these wonderful, like little 15-minute blocks, and it's super affordable. You can pop in with your family and then get your incredible photos to send out to family and friends, right? How did you get into photography, Mommy? What was it that led you there?
My story is kind of similar to the photographers here, but I was still like stay-at-home mom, like full-time stay-at-home mom since my son. I have a 9-year-old son. So since he was born, I was at home, like I stayed home with him. And then I always like loves to take photos. I love art. I paint. I love to sing. I'm more artsy person. So I always have passion to take photos. And then my husband has the really great camera that he bought, but he didn't use. And so I took that chance and then took my son's photos. And even like on the trip, like I just like take, photos on my phone. And then this is my thing. And I think it's during pandemic, I found this online photography course that this, great wedding photographers. It's a wife and husband duo. They had an online course, so I leaned towards it and then jump in. And after that course, I was like, yeah, this is because like I always like looking for something I can do. And at that time, like my son was already, big enough to take care of himself and then getting into the school. So I have more time. So I have been looking for something that I can work, but maybe not a corporate job. And then this like photography things comes and then took a course. And then I was like, okay, let me start it and then see. And I started, I offer these photographies, and like since then, like I'm really passionate about it. So I love this photography business. So yeah, that's how I
What are your
started.
hopes? Like when you think about your future and how, like the next 5 years, what do you think? What are you hoping for if in your wildest dreams? What would you be doing with your photography?
So getting into more branding photography, I think it's great because lots of, business owners need the photos, even though like they sometimes don't realize that. But nowadays, like social medias and then there's like, you need photos, but like there is like a obvious difference between the photos taken by the professionals or iPhone photos
Over
that you
here
can
like
put the
this, right? Like I hate to see that.
the lighting and everything. So there's always need, and then there's the demand is more. And as I just said, like I love to help women, and then I think all women has its own beauty, and then sometimes they don't see it. Many clients said, "Oh, I can't do posing," or like I don't like this part or this, and then I don't see that. I'm like, you're beautiful. Like your smile is beautiful. And when they stand in front of camera, their like real smile doesn't come out. I'm like, why? You have such a beautiful smile. Smile more. That's like I love to create the like really calm atmosphere to bring their own self out. And then I love to also like styling them and then get to know their brand and business. And then all around, like it's helping it, building their business together. So I love it. So yeah, I'm thinking that, this is my thing. And in 5 years, I would still do the branding photography more. Yeah.
And you're so right, Ami. There's so many people who don't realize how important these photos are. You know, when you and I were talking earlier, and I was saying to you, I chose you to do my photos based on your photo, right? Like based on the photo I saw of you that
Mhm.
you had. And so a lot of times when people are coming to our businesses, they're not choosing the business, they're choosing us, right? And so
Yeah.
when
Girl.
they see a photo and they're like, "Oh, I can see the warmth in her eyes," or "I can see that smile. Ooh, that makes me feel comfortable. Like I want to work with her," right? Okay, yeah, they might come to buy the cupcake, but they came to buy the cupcake because of how our smile made them feel, right? Or whatever it was that they saw in the picture. So you're so right. But I'm also wondering, Mommy, like where did you learn the importance of being able to see that beauty in people? Like where did you get that from? Where did that come from for you? Like having that eye to see someone be like, "Oh, even in all the things she doesn't like about herself, I see beauty." Where did that come from?
I love being weird. I love differences. I'm open to like any cultures, any colors, any religion. Like myself, I'm from Japan and I grew up in Japan. So like Japan is basically um, what is it, Buddhism background, but also like we also have Shinto, which is the traditional Japanese religion. So we combine Shinto and Buddhism. So we have temple for Buddhism and shrine for Shinto. And then so many people go both for in different reason. So this is kind of like regular, like normal life for us. So like combine like different religion, I would say, and the background. So this is very kind of natural for me. And so that's how I grew up. Like my background is like Japanese, but I also went to Christianity school for 6 years. So like that, like I'm pretty open to the religion too and different people. And I guess when I was a kid, my family uh, went to like Guam, Saipan. I don't know if you
Yeah,
heard.
of
This
course.
is part of America, but we like it's very close to Japan. So we travel like maybe once a year, and then I've seen different people too. So maybe pretty like that's how I like grow up, and then I get used to it, and I just basically love differences between people. I think I'm open to it and I accept it, and then see like different colors, like palette, like purple, orange, red, like individually it's different, and then they have different purpose, but they're like all different colors, and it's beautiful, you know. So I think that's how I see the world as well.
The differences. That's beautiful, Mommy. So, I mean, you mentioned, growing up in Japan, and how old were you when you came to this country?
I came when I was in college. I studied uh, university in Vegas. Yeah. So that's, yeah, the first time I
And
came.
what was that like? I mean, was it a shock? Was it easy?
Yeah. I was a shy girl, kind of, I can say maybe like a typical Japanese shy girl that in Japanese culture, like people don't really say out loud. We keep it in ourselves, and then we are taught not to bother others. Yeah, really. So a lot of Japanese people think um think more like, oh, should I say that? Is it okay for me to do it before doing something? So I was like that too. But when I came to America, this thing really doesn't work. You need to say you need to like say out loud what you want, what you need. Otherwise, people are there, but people really don't know like what help you
Yeah.
need. So yeah. So that is the big difference. And then like I learned a lot from that. Yeah.
And what made you want to stay, even though it was so different, of building a family here and starting your life? What was it about being here that you're like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can live in America?
I didn't really decided to stay. It's more like my life changes. So I studied, like I'm telling you my like whole this past going through. Um, I went to university here, like in Vegas, and then when I graduated, that was like the economy crash. So there's no job, anything like 2008 back then. Yeah, and then I just went back to Japan, and then I worked there for 4 years about so, and then I went to Australia, and then there is like visa called working holiday visa. It's just like many country offers to exchange the cultures, and then like you get to stay for 1 or 2 years. And so I picked Australia, Sydney, and then I went there, and I was working and then seeing different cultures. Then I met my husband there, and then we met at the salsa bar. So we both dance Latin dance. We both dance salsa.
Nice.
So we met there at the salsa bar, and then we got married. And then when I was 5 months pregnancy, my husband got a job in U.S. and then like we moved to U.S. And like until 3 years ago, we lived in Seattle. Yeah, and then we moved to Atlanta. So
So, mommy, you've
yeah,
had a very diverse places that you've lived in and experiences, right? Of being in Australia um, and then going even in Seattle. Seattle is like very different than Atlanta.
very different
Right?
from here.
Very different.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you think about the place that you feel like where your heart just feels really happy, what place out of all the places you've been, what place would that be?
I would say a place, the beach place, where I can see ocean. So you're from Jamaica, so you probably know it. But I am also so I'm from Hiroshima, Japan, and then my grandparents lived in small island in Hiroshima. There are so many small islands in Hiroshima, and then both of my parents grew up in like small island, different island, and so both of my grandparents lived there. Like, so my memory is, went to the island, rode the fishing boat on my grandpa. And so like I always felt connected with the water, the oceans. So I think that's my happy place.
And then here we are, landlocked in Atlanta with just a dirty river.
Yes.
A dirty little Chattahoochee River. How, right?
We have ocean, but like we have to drive 5 hours.
And nobody's for that. I get on a plane and I go to the Caribbean, right? To drive 5 hours and just get on a plane instead.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself missing it, like longing for the water?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that feeling.
So
I know that feeling
yeah.
all too well. Yeah. And my husband doesn't swim because he grew
Okay.
up in the mountains of Jamaica. He never went to the beach.
Oh,
So some people
there.
he
Okay.
never, he didn't go to the beach till he came to the US when he was 12
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because he lived high in the mountains in the place where he grew up, Mandeville, Jamaica. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
mountain
Mm-hmm.
and it's like
Yeah.
70 something degrees all year long. So you
Okay.
never, it's like sometimes it's hot, but it's not really hot. It's very like mild, you know? Whereas me, I grew up in
Yeah.
the city. And
Okay.
so, you know, it's every every chance you get, holiday or
Mm-hmm.
even just the weekend, you go to Negril, you go to Ochi, and this is the beach, right? So we were
Right.
always, my cousins were certified in scuba diving, so we were always at the beach. And then in I grew up in South Florida, so in South Florida, you're always at the beach too. And then now I come here and I'm like,
So that's why, like, I sometimes I need to go to Lake Lanier to just, feel the energy from the water. So wherever, like, when I see water, river, lake, ocean, I feel I'm like connected. I recharge myself that way.
you're so right. You know, it's funny, mommy, because I was just having this conversation with a Jamaican girlfriend of mine the other day, and I was saying, you know, I believe God is
Mhm.
in the water because when I'm in
Yeah.
the shower, the amount of downloads that I get of like ideas coming from like spirit, I'm like, the Lord is in the water. Because I don't get those down. Like if I'm just sitting here and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? It's hard to get the ideas. But every time I'm in the shower, I have all of these ideas, right? I don't know if that
Mhm.
happens to you, like if you feel inspired when you're by the water, you know, these ideas come to you and you can feel them, right?
It's funny that in Japan, we believe in many gods. So we have water gods, we have sun gods, we have gods in toilet too. Yeah, like we believe in maybe like
Yeah.
spirit, very spirituality. So like just back in like a toilet story, like we believe in gods in toilet too. So like my parents said, oh, like just like thank to the gods of toilet too. So in every corner there's a god.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah. Earlier, you were mentioning that in the Japanese culture, you know, being shy is very, very normal. And a lot of people are, especially probably women, are very shy and you're taught to be quiet, you know, because you don't want to burden anybody or bother anybody. And I wanted to tell you that you know, I think when you were taking my pictures, that was maybe 2 years ago, I want to say. Yeah, right. So we met 2 years ago, and I remember telling you like, you need to get on social media. You know, you people need to know how to find you. Like, show the people what you do. And you were like, oh, I don't know. And I
Yes,
wanted
yeah.
to tell you how proud of you I am because I see you showing up on social media. I see you coming out of your shell. I see you showing people your personality, and I'm like, yes, mommy.
Oh, thank you.
And
Yes, it's a lot of work. I don't know, even though I feel comfortable for myself around the people I know, I think those like cultural thing or like stop me. So like I really put the work into getting out of my shell. I'm still working on it. Yeah, that's why I'm doing this too.
but you know,
Yeah.
people can feel that, right? They can feel when you're, and I to some degree, I guess I can see how that would be really hard, right? To because a part of all of us is that cultural piece is always inside of us. So even when we move and we go to a new place, we still have that voice of our people in the back of our mind, like, don't do that. We don't do that. Don't say that. Don't wear that, right? Don't should. And even though we're not aware of it, we shrink ourselves, right? Because we're trying, without realizing, we're trying not to go against our culture or go against, how might my mom see me? How might my community see me? I don't want people to see that I'm, a Guyanese Jamaican woman and say, oh, why is she doing that? Maybe she's not really a part of the culture, but I think when we give ourselves permission to show up as we really are, then we give other women permission because they see you and they say, ah, well, mommy's Japanese and she's doing it, right? And she's comfortable in her skin and she's showing up and she uses her voice. But even when you think about, now your son is here, right? And having a 9-year old and he's first generation in this country, right? The first person to be born here. How is his experience as a kid different from yours?
I'm not sure about how he thinks, but I think he defined himself as American. But of course, like he knows that his mom is Japanese, and then his dad is Sri Lankan. By the way, he's from Sri Lanka. And then he experienced both of the cultures. He's been to Japan and then Sri Lanka. So sometimes, of course, like we feel uncomfortable or some about living in America, and then we say something about it to him, and then he didn't like it. He's like, yeah, he felt offended, you know. So
This is my
it's like
country.
this, like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, sorry, like, I wouldn't say that. That's right, So yeah, he has his thought, and it's it's very interesting too for me because I define myself like as a Japanese living in America, but it's not. It's he is an American, and then of course I have to show that, like, show the respect to him too. So when he told me that, don't say bad things about America, I'm like, oh yes, that's right. Yeah, of course,
You have to
So
respect
accepting that too.
because this is
Yes,
his
yeah,
country, right?
yes,
And he feels
yes,
pride about that. Yeah.
uh
But that's
yeah,
interesting, mommy, because I think, different people raise their kids differently with the different culture, right? So I
yeah,
was first born in this country, my parents not, but my husband was born in Jamaica. But our kids, if you ask them, they would not say they're American. They would say, I'm Guyanese
oh,
Jamaican. Because in our house, we are very Guyanese Jamaican. Like in Pato, you say like brought up see, like the way that you're raised. Everything we do is very culturally embedded, and we try to be really mindful about the decisions of the way our kids like wear their hair, the way they dress, the way because we want them to always feel so much pride for their culture. But right, and but that's something that we've done, not to say right, better, or wrong, but every family is different, right? And so it's interesting because the kids then pick up what you like push. Because my husband and I were like, even though the way that I was raised, my parents would always tell me we're not American. Even though you were born in this country, we are not from this country, and therefore we will never be a part of this culture. Like we don't carry the traditions, the understanding. We have the Caribbean traditions, the Caribbean understandings of being Guyanese and Jamaican, right? And sometimes it's hard because when you have kids, you don't always think about this until you have them and you're like, oh wait, how do we want to raise them? Right? Like, do we want them to feel pride about being an American, right? Or do we want them to really be pride of being American, but also hold on to the tradition? And it's so hard to like be in America, but then also continue to hold on to our tradition. Like, how do you not lose that, right? Because it's so much of who we are. And as our kids get further and further from it, will they lose it, right? And so, how do we
Right.
continue to show them this is our culture, this is what we do, these are the things that have been passed on? Like, for example, something that's really important in our culture is our medicine. And our medicine is the plants, right? So we use plants to nourish our bodies. So when you're sick, my husband grows like all this stuff. So we go out into the garden, the girls pick and they make tea. And that's what they use to make ourselves better, right? But that's really important to us that we pass that on, that our kids don't go to CVS and get medicine, but they go to their backyard and pick from the garden, and they know how to, oh, okay, when I have a fever, I use this grass. When I have, a cough, I use this fruit, right? Like, when you think about, for you, what is it that you really try to hold on to within your culture to pass on to your son?
I used to have like really strong feeling about passing this Japanese culture when he was like much smaller, because of course I stayed with him for the whole time. And in Seattle, there were many Japanese groups and Japanese preschools, and we had more access to Japanese culture. So it was easier to do that. And I also like make sure to teach him Japanese languages. And but now gradually after he started the school, elementary school, and he like our focus is more toward the study and learning too. And it's hard to make that time to teach him something, like teach Japanese or some. But as a Japanese person, I eat Japanese food. I go to like Asian grocery store and then I watch anime with him. So there are something that I can do with him, and he can still experience the Japanese culture. So I make sure to, like, I'm not that worried about that. I think like it's his choice, how he wants to feel about, but just not like I'm just there and not really like forcing him like this is the Japanese culture you need to follow. You know what I mean? Yeah. And also like Sri Lankan, my husband's side. So for example, the medicine, so it's kind of like similar to Jamaica. They use a lot of herbal medicines. And when we visited Sri Lanka, his mom, so my son's grandma pick up this like different kinds of leaves, and she grows peppers too, and many like mangoes or something they didn't see, just like casually pick and then show it. So he get to experience that, and then at home we always have this herbal tea. Like whenever like when we get sick in Sri Lanka culture, like they drink that herbal tea, but it's more like it's a powder, so it's easy to drink. And then my son loves it. And then when I ask him when he gets sick, do you want to drink that tea? And he's like, yeah, give me that tea. He loves it. And then he loves green tea. He loves those herbal tea. So yeah. It's not, we don't really force, but we just introduce what we like about our culture, and then he naturally, you know, yeah, get to know.
Now that you're here, Mommy, you said it's harder to find community, right, of your Japanese community. Have you been successful at all in finding like mom groups or women groups of women, or is it kind of like, does it not really exist here?
It exists, but Atlanta is bigger city. It's very diverse. Like we have like different areas. So also I think Japanese people are spreading out. Yeah. Well, we know, I know some Japanese communities and yeah, Japanese people too.
Yeah, because for me, in being here back home in South Florida, there's tons of West Indian people, but here it's the same. There's little pockets like Stone Mountain or further in the city, but I'm not driving an hour to go there. I moved here to be here. I don't want to be there, right? So, it's been really hard to find my community of the people from that I would say, oh, like that's my cousins, right, is what I always say. It's been really hard here, and sometimes even simple things like finding my food, right? Like sometimes you want, I don't know if you ever feel, sometimes you feel for like your food and you're like, I feel for my food, and there's like, where am
Always.
I gonna go?
Yeah. In terms of finding community, I don't see myself like big in Japanese community. Like it's not like I'm belonging to Japanese culture, but like I belong, but I don't necessarily need to find like the strong connection in there. Like community I love is having people like who are open to different cultures, different things. Like people who like me, who loves to experience different things and see different um, like world and talk about it, just like you. Yeah. So yeah, like so even like here, I know like there are Japanese people. Like I don't um, force myself to just find that like
Yeah.
Japanese community.
And I think
You
that
know what I
that
mean?
speaks to your experiences of being all over, right? Because you've traveled all over the
Yeah.
place. Yeah. So
Because
you
I
love the
love
different
yeah.
cultures. You love
And
just being around like-minded people. So people who have things in common, right? Yeah.
yeah, like I don't see like because we're all human beings, so yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. Like
So, Mommy,
yeah,
when you think about your ideal client, I know we said, branding for sure is like the thing, but who is your ideal woman that you are looking to work with? What does she look like for you?
a woman who is like starting a business or who wants to um, like building strong business and maybe level up, wants to more level up, and who is um, also like open-minded, like who are not afraid to jumping in new things. Yeah. So it can be like anybody too. Yeah. But I want to have my clients to have the same values, same core with me. So we feel connected. And I make sure to make people feel, relaxed and then open to me. So we'll talk before the sessions and then we plan.
So if this sounds anything like you and you want to connect with Mommy, like I said, all the information is down below. Please don't hesitate to reach out to her. She always has so many things going on in different times of the year. So you can always sign up to her newsletter or her emails, right? Mommy, you also have like every, I think week you send out different things, letting people know what you have going on, right? Yes.
So I have my Instagram website, and I have newsletter to let clients know, like let people know what's going on in my business too. So yeah.
So, Mommy, do you want to share with them where are the best places to reach you? I mean, that information is going to be down below as well, but if you want to give them, which one do you check most? Where are you? Where can they find you most? Are you mostly on Instagram? Are you mostly on Threads? Where are you?
I'm mostly on Instagram. So I have two accounts with my maternity photography account and then personal branding photography. I recently opened too. And you can see my work there and then connect with me, as well as you can check my website. And then if you feel, wants to connect with me and then wants to with me more about your photography, like to, renew your photography, then you can reach out to me through email.
Nice. Okay. So please, if you feel connected to Mommy and you want to work with her, go ahead and reach out. And thank you guys again so much for following the podcast. Appreciate you. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as I enjoyed it. And if anything resonated with you, don't hesitate to share, like, subscribe. If you think a girlfriend of yours would really enjoy this, send it to her. And again, thank you. This is the Narrative of Untold Stories podcast.